But I think, yeah, what they're getting wrong, a lot of people, is trying to have a better solution, better tech, better marketing, when truly you have to get that buy-in from the community and also from the merchant owners.
Welcome, builders, to How Would You Build It? The podcast that dives deep into the dynamic world of startups and product creation right here in South Africa and Africa. This show is more than just interviews. Every week, we sit down with the brilliant minds to provide a masterclass for building digital products amidst the challenges and opportunities unique to our continent. From seasoned founders to dynamic product managers, we uncover the unique stories and strategies behind some of the most innovative digital products being built. So for all the aspiring founders and product builders out there, you'll discover that each episode is a wealth of practical wisdom and local and actionable insights. Make sure to subscribe or follow wherever you listen to our podcasts and connect with us on social media for even more content. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of How Would You Build It? It's episode 51, and we've got Leon. He's the co-founder, not the co-founder, he's the founder of Oudekassie. And Leon, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for the invite. Really excited.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, looking forward to hearing about it. You know, Brunier, every time we talk about the township economy or anything kind of linked to it, the audience tends to love it, right? So I'm really excited for our conversation with Leon. How are you doing today, Renier?
Yeah, I'm great. Lucky to have Leon here. We met, I think, 5 years ago when Oudekassie was, I think, only just an idea. And Leon was probably 5 years ahead of its time. So excited to hear about the journey and what they're working on and what he's learned.
Yeah. So Leon, I did a bit of stalking, and I heard you say somewhere else on a different podcast a while ago that Oudekassie's been around since 2014. Is that true?
2018.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So actually started 2017, but to be formally registered in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. So I think, like I just mentioned, is that generally when we talk about the Kassie economy and the township economy, there's like a hidden opportunity that people are not seeing or not taking part of. Maybe it's, they feel it's risky or whatever. So I just want to kind of gauge in your, where you are. I know you've been in on the ground and understanding it and being involved in it. So, what do you feel, where's the most potential sitting outside of last mile delivery that you do? Like, where are you seeing opportunities growing in the last couple of years since you've started inside the township economy?
It's quite interesting because it does in a way relate to last mile delivery, but I would say the e-commerce space. So what I've been seeing a lot is there's a lot of entrepreneurs using WhatsApp mainly. So they'll use WhatsApp, the WhatsApp business, upload their catalog over there, and then basically do sales using that. So there really is a massive interest on the e-commerce field of things. It's just that the startups over there are still looking for that perfect tool or platform, as to call it. So for now, WhatsApp seems to work very well for them. And the interesting space is your health and fitness products. So
Really?
like your Herbalife does very well in the townships. I think it's because they've got that structure where they got that whole program around it. So it's not just flipping a product, but they've got like a whole, I don't know, like system that they have where they create entrepreneurs. So
Multi-level marketing.
Yes, yeah. That seems to be really catching on very big in the townships.
Okay. It's interesting, Renier, this WhatsApp trend. Like, I can't escape it at the moment. Like, since, I don't know, towards the end of last year, I've just been getting more and more exposure to people utilizing WhatsApp. And I must say, like, my time at Sweep South, that was the best way to get hold of people. There was huge penetration in the townships with WhatsApp. That trend is getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah, and I think it's where people hang around, right? And it's easy to forward messages. It's so easy to use. Everybody has it. Everybody knows how to navigate from it. And I can imagine people starting, selling more and more stuff using WhatsApp. We had Weekback on recently, who obviously built that product to help people get paid. But Leon, on the food delivery business, right? So I mean, I used to love Uber Eats. And then one day I realized that they mark up the food by 50%.
I know, right?
And then I'm like, she's can I order via WhatsApp and someone, or can I just sort it out myself? So what that made me think is like for this model to be sustainable, the markup needs to be substantial. Is it a similar case in the areas that you've been operating in, or how scalable, how much money can you make from food delivery?
So yeah, it's a challenging one, right? Firstly, I don't think that it needs to be 50%. I think that's quite wild.
It's crazy.
So
I'm
before
like, I cannot in my right mind think how anybody can think that's acceptable.
yeah.
It's either
So what
people are stupid and they're not paying attention,
Or they're
or
just very lazy, Rene, and they're willing to pay for it,
how,
and it's
no,
crazy.
she's how lazy must you be to, I mean, sorry, this is a bit of a rant, but I mean, you buy the Freie Burger has the best burgers in the country, right? Bertus Bassoni just launched one in the waterfront. Beautiful burger. I think the burger is like 110 rand. You order it on Uber Eats, it's like 175. I'm like, guys, you're killing us here. Like, and then they charge 30 rand delivery fee on top of that. I'm like, this is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
no, that is not cool.
Anyhow, sorry, Leon, back to you. Like 50% is too much. I agree.
so for us, I think when we were doing food deliveries, the first thing we did was obviously being aware the markets we're in, the markup makes a massive difference, because yeah, like you said, like people are familiar with what's offered in the communities and they know how much it goes for. So if you're slapping on 50%, that's ridiculous. So we needed to find a sweet spot that works, for us and also for the customers. So we averaged around 10% to 15% commission, depending on like the volumes. But all of that being said, the reason that really pushed us towards pivoting away from food deliveries was because of that challenge. The margins were low. I do believe it can work if you've got capital like Uber, but it's just, yeah, if you're self-funding it, it's quite a beast to take on. Yeah, so that was the main reason of us pivoting away from food deliveries.
Yeah, and you're into logistics now. I mean, you're into last mile deliveries and
Yeah.
focusing specifically in township areas.
Yeah, so what we picked up is we were under an incubator called Oribi Village, and they gave us 80,000 Rand to like really give the food delivery, like a proper chance, everything that we needed. And even though 80,000 is not much, but we really got some major insights. But what we also picked up was that on our last mile delivery side of things, those volumes are constant um, mid-month, because in the townships, the peaks of the orders tend to come towards the month end because now has been paid. And then the challenge is,
You
how
can't
do you
deliver.
sustain your drivers, until that peak comes? Um, so we saw like, look, man, the career side of things is consistent, it's growing. So let's try and focus on what's working and double down on that.
Mm,
Go
yeah.
for the boat. Huh?
No, I just wanted to say, like, what's interesting about this is just how poor logistics is in the country in general. Like, one of our very first episodes of our podcast, we spoke about how the postal service had disappeared, right? It's just non-existent, and has opened the door to understand delivery in general, and how it's now the ripple effect is kind of moving across the economy. It's been super interesting. I mean, obviously with the introduction of Mr. Delivery and Uber Eats and Checks 6060, we've seen, a lot of people going, oh, I can do this. And now it feels like there's like these extra satellites of people that are just building onto this top that's just growing and growing and growing. So it's just an observation and not really a question, but like, I'm sure that's what's benefited your company.
Yeah. I think the beauty about it also was when my partner Jason came on board, his whole background was logistics and career services, like since forever. And he was so intrigued that if I was able to do food deliveries within the townships, what could stop us from delivering parcels?
Mm.
So the challenge of like mapping, crime, etc. I was really doing it with food deliveries. And yeah, so he was really excited that, look, if we can take this to career companies and become their last mile delivery partners. There's a massive opportunity over here that if we do this right, we could end up having all of your courier companies that want to penetrate the township market using us, take this nationally, and so on. Yeah.
I love that.
And Leon, why maybe just from the context and the background of South Africa, but why is deliveries in township such a big opportunity as opposed to deliveries outside of the township?
I think for us, the biggest highlights came during COVID, and when we saw when like people in the townships were now no longer going into town, so if you wanted items, then you have to go online, and we saw our workload shoot up like crazy. So that was the first sign to see like there's a massive opportunity over there. But the tricky thing about the townships and what I've personally experienced is that back in the days, you would work, or you'd go to school, get a job. Then the first thing you do is you move out of the townships. You get a house in the suburbs. Now it's starting to go the other way around. So you finish school, you work, you build like your own home that's in the township already. So there's a massive buying power that's in the townships, but yet a lot of these services are still focusing on urban customers. But if they don't take notice of it, there's a trend now. People aren't rushing to move into the suburbs anymore. They're building their mom's house or their granny's house within the townships. Yeah.
That's an interesting observation. I like that. That's super interesting. But now what I'm also interested about is it kind of speaks to Renee's question, which is like, okay, so COVID came around and you saw this transition and people were like, okay, cool, we can't go anywhere. So here's an online, option for us. But we know that payment gateways have always been a problem, right? So people get their money. They generally in the township like to convert it into cash as quickly and as soon as possible because that's where they see value. How are you navigating that? Is that an issue for you guys or do you have a workaround?
So we've never used cash since 2018 or 2017 when we went live. We've been cashless. The major reason for that was the logistics behind it. Not so much about the whole crime and carrying money, but more so of if your driver picks up at a certain restaurant, takes cash, and then the next order sends them in another direction, like just tracking that whole thing of like, okay, now we owe you how many orders were on the app, how many orders were physical cash. And then also because of our service offering, it is, even though it's in the township, we are targeting a certain market still within the township.
Okay.
So these are people who already have bank cards working because it is in a way
that's
like
kind of what I was alluding to is like, are the people geared towards, are they not taking their money out of the banks? Do they have that card, that bank set up so that when you do your payment gateway, they're ready for you?
Yeah. So our target market is the ones who, have bank cards, happy to use online services, have used online services before. So that's what we're targeting. Yeah.
So Leon, I mean, parts of you get different sides to the township, right? So you get a side that is relatively well developed. It has tar roads, it has addresses, it has street names. And then normally at the outskirts of townships, you get some of the newer areas which sometimes don't follow the city or town planning structures in terms of laying out roads and like how does one do deliveries in townships when you have this mix of basically informal informal naming and creating of addresses mixed with the formal way of doing it?
Yeah. No, it is. Yeah, it does become wild and interesting. So, for example, we deliver food parcels. So we've got those clients that uses us to reach all these challenging areas, to deliver food relief parcels. And for us, the principle and the concept that when I did my research and found out why don't certain companies start these delivery solutions in the townships, and as you mentioned, the mapping issues and the crime, I felt the only solution to that is hiring local people. So people who've born there, grew up there. Um, so for them, if they call a customer and the customer says, yeah, if you pass that container shop, they know exactly where it is, because Google Maps, you're not going to
Landmarks.
find it with Google Maps. So it's really, yeah, the simplest solution that worked the best for us.
Thereby go past the tree, and then to the left
Yeah,
you see a spaza shop, and then what?
exactly. And I
Yeah.
mean, like we like bragging about this because we've got like quite a high, it's like 96% delivery rate, and all that's
Nice.
just from using local people. Yeah.
Oh, I like that a lot. Well done. So something else that I've found out, kind of researching and seeing something, you have a background in customer care, right? So, something that is really getting to me lately from a product point of view and product management point of view is that people aren't talking to clients or customers or users enough. It sounds like you've kind of taken that approach from day one because you kind of come from that background of that customer care, like actually caring about the people that are going to be using your service. So can you just tell me about that background and how you've utilized that kind of intuition into bringing into Order.Kasi?
Yeah. So when I left TPUT, I went straight into customer care. Yeah, I think like 6 or 7 or probably 8 years doing customer care at different levels. And I think coupling that and also with my character, who I'm extrovert, like I enjoy talking to people, I enjoy socializing. To me, I didn't see any other way to make it work than, going out there, speaking to people. Um, in fact, I was actually having a chat with someone recently that what I've learned now, or how to start a business and stuff, I probably wouldn't have started because it would have felt like it's a massive challenge. But to me, it just felt like there's no other way to do it but just go and speak to the people. Like at the time, I didn't see any other way to do it. It's just go out there, ask simple questions, yeah, speak to different people. And with customer care, you're used to rejection. So I've done sales, I've done inbound, I've done outbound. So I'm used to rejection. It's just another day. So
Yeah.
so I think having that where you don't take yourself too serious just helps a lot, and you get more, because I know a lot of people like to send polls or surveys.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I just got more out of it because of the markets that I was dealing with. It had to be the way that I did it, like to build those relationships, speak to the people, sit down, have coffee with the owners, have a beer with the owners, and just really,
Can you
connect.
potentially share an insight that you got from talking to someone like that gave you an aha moment that changed the trajectory of what you were doing on Order.Kasi? Can you think of anything?
Yeah, certainly. Most of the advice that I've got was actually speaking to the merchants that we put on our platform. So a lot of the, like how the township is structured, your most influential people tend to be the business people, you know. So sitting with them and tell them, look, I've got these challenges. I'm concerned about my driver's safety. I'm concerned about how to get reliable drivers, how to recruit, and just having a chat with them. I'd go to their place, would buy a 6-pack, sit down and just chat. And I just tell them, like, "Yeah, here's my journey, here's my challenges." And I would
Proper
leave with
raw
so many,
feedback, eh?
yeah, I would leave with so much feedback, plus things I was not aware that I don't know. You see, so for us to build that community focused and centered platform, which protected us from being victims of crime, allowing us to get the best drivers, all of that just came to sitting and chatting with merchant owners.
Yeah. So what are most people getting wrong? Like if there's something that you could share with, you say that the power's coming from the merchants. Is there something that you can share that can a misconception that's out there about what's happening on the roads?
So I think there's a mate of mine who was starting a food delivery service, And I remember he was asking me that, how come I'm so chilled at these meetings, with the owners? Like, instead of all the speaking technical terms and, this app will do this, and I think that's where a lot of people are getting it wrong. Township businesses is really based on relationship building. It really is the cornerstone. You have to have a relationship with the merchants, and you might have a better solution than me, but because I've got a relationship, they're not so big on change. You can come with some fancy whatever solution, but because of the relationship that I've built, it makes it tricky. And I had someone telling me that it's difficult to scale an approach like that, which I totally disagree. I mean, like, you look at salesmen who are seeing so many clients a day, like, so why can't you scale going to see your merchants owners and building that bond with them? But I think, yeah, what they're getting wrong, a lot of people, is trying to have a better solution, better tech, yeah, better marketing, when truly you have to get that buy-in from the community and also from the merchant owners.
That's absolute gold, Leon, and I think I hope people paid attention because it sounds like it's obvious, but it's not. I think it, and I want to reiterate that, like, the tech and the product's almost secondary to the relationship, and I think sometimes if you go and look at some of the products that those people use, like even in spaza shops, then if you're into product, you'll look at it and you'll scratch your head and go, how are people using this? But they're probably using it because of a relationship with someone that came then, brought them that piece of software and sold it. So I absolutely love that. Leon, so in the township economy, like, where do you see the biggest opportunities? Like what should people be building or focusing on? Because ultimately, I mean, the more economic activity we have in the township, the better, right? It's more money changing hands, the more opportunity for people to build businesses. And that ultimately, I think, is the most important mission we have in the country, is to actually create, economic activity in areas which previously didn't have a lot of economic activity. And we know government is busy with other things, and business in South Africa, we do what we need to do. We go win World Cups and UFC belts and AFCON medals all by ourselves, and we build businesses that bring forth change. And I love that about South Africans, by the way. So Leon, where's the opportunity in township? Like, what should we be doing?
Because I'm biased towards tech, I think it's just really creating more simplified solutions for entrepreneurs in the townships. I think that's such a massive opportunity because, like I was saying earlier, that they're using WhatsApp, and that's purely manual, so there's no interlinked payment gateway. It's just straight up conversation. Or they'll be using Facebook marketplaces, So I think just using tech to create more simple solutions for these communities. And also the challenge is cash flow. So we would pay our merchants weekly. So we'd invoice all the basically reconcile all the orders done for the week. And for some merchants, that's a challenge. They need that money tomorrow, So, having solutions like that where the payment gateway turn around is quicker, simplified tool on how to order, just really creating tools that someone goes in there to understand them. Don't build the tools from outside. Go in there, understand them, then build those tools with their understanding in mind. But yeah, just basically simplified tools. There's a massive demand over there. It can create a massive boom for the township.
So like something that could help them with cash flow management.
Yeah. So two parts of it. So one is basically a platform for them to sell their products, and then two, the gateway to get their money quick.
Okay. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, that's what basically got us interested in the whole vision now for this year to open up a marketplace. It's because of that, because while we were doing the food deliveries, then we get like the people that I mentioned, like, who do your Herbalife sales, will be like, guys, can't you deliver my product for me? or people do like t-shirts, and because they already see the scooters driving up and down, they see like there's a delivery network over here. How come is it only focused on food? And now with us doing last mile, we pick up from customers living in the township and we deliver in the township. So yeah, that's the interest that we have right now. It's just to create a marketplace for all these businesses.
It's interesting
And
that
then I'm saying like to create a platform for them to be able to trade on, and then we just leverage our delivery network.
I see.
Love that.
So with a marketplace, I mean, I've worked in marketplaces and stuff. There's this chicken and egg situation. Do you feel like you need to get your merchants sorted first before you find that the community or the merchants, like there's always this chicken and egg scenario. Like you don't want to get supply if you don't have demand, and you don't want to get demand if you don't have supply. So how are you dealing with that at the moment? Do you have a strategy that's already working for you?
I think it's just, because we had that same scenario when we were doing food deliveries, as you mentioned it. For us, what felt like it worked is if you get the merchants on board. So a lot of these businesses in the townships have already have a following. So if you have a merchant on board, you can leverage that following. So it kind of makes your work easier to get people using the platform because they know now you're affiliated to so and so who's on the platform, and then it just creates that buy-in. So just getting the merchants on board first seemed to work easier for us that way. And also what we're trying to do is we don't want to just focus on your startups that are in the townships, but also established businesses that are in the townships, because there's shopping centers, there's malls. So if you want to buy clothing, we can deliver it to your doorstep in the township. So it's not that we're doing a solution just for startups. We want to leverage established businesses. Yeah.
So I'm just thinking now. So you're talking about merchants and we're talking about the customers. Are you also managing the drivers? Because there's that third element to doing all of this. You did say that you're using people to do the deliveries within the township, which means that you're actually managing a three-way marketplace.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like people struggle with two, you're trying to do three. That's impressive.
No, it's interesting.
Who's giving you the most headaches?
I can't say. I'm not gonna offend any of them.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's super interesting because I know what a battle it is just to get the two to get together. So now you're looking at three. Do you source your bike, your riders yourself, or are you partnering with other people, or what kind of network are you sort of using and leveraging within your little ecosystem?
So I think just to answer this and to touch on your previous point is that us establishing a delivery network makes it easier for us to then have the platform. So I think it would have been a massive headache if we started with a platform and then tried to create a delivery network. So we already got the tricky part of how do we do the shipping? How do we get items? How do we pick them up? So we've got that down, and then now it's just moving on to the platform. So we use basically the Uber model. Our drivers have their own vehicles. We sign them up, we vet them, and then basically the Uber model.
Sure. How big is your team at the moment?
We have 86 drivers on file.
Sure. And who's vetting them? Like how many people have you got vetting and signing up merchants and then doing the marketing to the customers?
So the vetting process is just you have to come with your police clearance as part of your documents when applying. And the reason why so many of them is that we've been here in Cape Town since we started, and now we starting in KZN this year. So we've got a team up there in KZN. Yeah.
Okay. And so you're looking at expanding this marketplace across sort of different regions. So are you only in Cape Town and moving into KZN, or are you anywhere else?
At the moment, in Cape Town and in Durban, and that's us doing your last mile deliveries. So for the career partners we're working with, we deliver for them in Cape Town and in Durban. And since we already got the network there, that's where we're going to launch the the marketplace also. So wherever we launch our delivery network, then we will enable the marketplace also there.
May I ask what kind of lessons you've learned between the two markets? Because I've said this before in the podcast, it's actually insane how different our cities are. We would think that under South Africa, we're one kind of, we have the same habits and the same behaviors, and backgrounds, but wow.
Yeah.
I mean, Cape Town to KZN is very different. What are you experiencing?
One thing that was a shock for me is I thought Cape Town would have a higher buying power, but I'm not sure because I'm not sure if it's maybe population wise, because Khayelitsha is one of the biggest townships in the whole country. So if you're speaking population, Khayelitsha is also quite very massive. But what we've seen is that our career partners have 3 times the volumes in KZN compared to here in Cape Town. So that I was not expecting that. I really expected it to be Cape Town that's really big on e-commerce, which,
I must say, Rene, I'm actually, one of the big things that Leon said to us today is the fact that people aren't leaving the townships, they're kind of staying there. And it goes to some of the topics that we've spoken about in the past about how to create those little mini ecosystems and businesses within there, instead of going, I really like that. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, and I think just on the KZN point, like I don't think people understand how big KZN is in terms of size and population. Like, typically people think Cape Town, Joburg, that's where it's at. KZN is massive. I mean, I think the most spoken language in South Africa is Zulu.
Is Zulu.
And most of those people live in KZN. And also, I mean, if you've been following politics recently, there's big talk about what's going to happen in KZN, because KZN's votes would have a massive impact on South Africa, simply to the sheer size of population of KZN. And also, GDP-wise, KZN is bigger than the Western Cape. Like there's more economic activity. Sure, a lot of it is related to the port, and there's some port issues there. But there's a lot of stuff happening in KZN, and for any person that's been to Durban, there's parts of Durban where there's some seriously wealthy people who live there. So, and I think Cape Townians, me included, like sometimes we live in this bubble of it's either Joburg or Cape Town.
Yeah, it's true.
Massive opportunity, because it's massive. There's a lot happening there. Maybe not like tech startup-y kind of things, but where there's business, there's opportunity for people to build tech and let tech play a part in that. So excited for you guys, Leon, that you're expanding in KZN. I think it's a massive opportunity and a massive underserved market when it comes to startups.
Yeah, most definitely. Because I didn't expect like the volumes to be 3 times as much. Like it was eye-opening. Like wow, because like you said, everyone it's always Joburg or Cape Town. And also like with us, the whole strategy behind it is we see Joburg as this massive beast, so the whole game plan is to launch in all these areas, and then when we hit Joburg, we had a bigger momentum, because a lot of our competition is in Joburg.
Trying to remember his name that we had on the podcast from AgriCool. Rene, what was his name again?
Oh, Zamu. I think Leon knows Zamu.
Do you know Zamu?
Sorry?
Zamu
I don't think we've met, but I think we've spoke on LinkedIn.
Okay. Yeah. Because he's got a site, so he's doing AgriCool, which is doing agriculture and delivering that to its the different places. But he started a side thing, delivering things from Pietermaritzburg to Durban, just because he forgot a cell phone charge. Yes.
Oh
yeah, incredible. Yeah. So what can we expect from Odakasi now that you're doing your marketplace? Anything that we should be looking out for looking into 2024 for you guys? I know you said the marketplace. What else is happening?
Basically all of our focus on energy is going to be on the marketplace. We know that we've got a lot of work to pull that off, and especially with Amazon launching here, and things are going to be wild and quite interesting, their war with Takealot and whatnot. So we know that we've got probably quite a challenge ahead of us. pulling this off. But yeah, our main focus will be launching this marketplace this year for Cape Town and Durban. Yeah.
Okay. And are you looking at doing Gauteng at all, or Eastern Cape or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. But it'll probably be next year.
Okay.
Because the whole strategy is to grow ourselves, because we see Joburg, it's going to be quite a challenge to conquer. So we want to be at a better position once we enter there, because right now in Cape Town and in Durban, we basically don't have competition. So we have the privilege of learning and growing, without a challenge right now. And once we hit Joburg, we should have our things together.
I kind of like that. Personally, Renee, I think people try and grow way too quickly. They get very growth focused and then kind of stumble along and sweat along and struggle along. I actually quite like the fact that they're not looking at expanding and overextending themselves. I think that's sometimes something, I don't know if it's an investor problem, people looking at you and wanting to see the growth numbers or whatever it is, but I like that strategy.
Well, that's how you end up charging 50% premiums on hamburgers.
Well said. Awesome. So Leon, this has been a great conversation. And as I warned, we're going to be doing a lightning round, and it's time for that now. So strap in. I hope you're ready. It shouldn't be too bad, though.
Good to go.
Let's go. All right. So the first one, which I quite like, is what is the best advice that you've received in your career that is helping you at Autorecasi that you feel other aspiring founders should also know about?
For me, it was that I don't have to be perfect. Like, I should get going, and I'll find people smarter than me to help me make the vision come alive. As long as what I'm doing matters, I don't have to be the most brainy, because it's always like, who am I to pull this off? I had that feeling for a long time, So that for me made a world of a difference. That no, look, you will get people that make this come alive, who are smarter, whatever,
Yeah, I like that. What is the most unexpected feedback you've ever received about your service?
I think was unexpected, but not in a bad way, was during COVID. We had a massive increase in interest in restaurants in the suburbs asking us to launch there, purely because of the commission that we were charging being cheaper.
Okay, that's really cool. If you could start a completely different business or a completely different industry tomorrow, what would it be in?
Entertainment.
You got to elaborate.
The thing is, I'm married to this. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, that's good though.
I think actually no, I lie. No, I know what I'd do. I'd somehow use the networks that I've created to create a small VC, and then approach township-based entrepreneurs, because there's a lot of brilliant ideas there that people who just need a little bit of a push or even information. That's what I would do.
You need to look out for Luvuyo Lakani. Have you heard? Do you know him?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's doing some cool stuff, doing training and sort of educating founders and stuff. So if it is a side passion of yours, you should reach out to him. He's also been on the podcast.
Yeah, I do know him. Sorry. Yeah, I do know him. Yeah,
okay,
sorry.
Cool. Yeah, it's Lilo Technologies, if I've got the name right. Yeah. Well, that's it from me. Renee, any last parting words with Leon before we let him go?
No, Leon, thanks for being here, and it's really exciting to see how you are still going, and I think this is the year for last mile and e-commerce in South Africa. So you're well positioned, and we'll be watching.
Yes. Thanks, I'll be giving it my all.
Great. Well, Leon, thank you very much, and to our listeners, thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Thanks, thanks again for the opportunity.